Welcome, gentlemen and ladies.
What do you say?
Ladies. Who wants to kick off? That's where we'll go. Me and Barry want these in art, so aim it all at Stephen.
So football, isn't it?
Excuse me.
Yes, go on, sir.
Here's the two guys that got hurt in March.
There you go. Neil Spafford's got badly bruised ribs, and hopefully he'll be back next 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Stacey Cartwright took a blow to the sort of shin outside of his leg, and he's doctors or nurses have diagnosed it as muscle tissue damage.
Yeah.
What the hell that means, I ain't got a clue, but I think it's a bruise as well. But
probably about 2 or 3 weeks.
7 to 10 days again.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have them back both within a fortnight. So.
Oh, good. Nothing's broken then.
No, I think it's the best we could hope for on the night, because they both looked quite bad at the time. So.
I thought they were a bit overzealous March at times up front. You know, their defence rather. I thought they were a little bit clunky. You know, at
Local
times.
derby, you expect.
Well, that's right. They wanted to win more than we did, didn't
I
they?
do.
Yeah. Oh well, no, as long as they're okay, is it?
That's it. Yeah, they're fine.
Anybody else? I've got one for all of you. Bear in mind, this is a bit some of the crap and absolute shit that's on our computer forum this winter. I mean, is there any chance, and does anybody agree that if these morons, and some of them are just downright liars, and a lot of them are just mischief makers, and they're all anonymous? Is it that difficult? Or am I daft thinking, let's just, you know, if you want to be on the forum, let's see who you are now. If you've got something to say it. Now, is there anything wrong with that?
I'll kick it off if you like. I mean, I think we
all
read it from time to time, and I think Steve responded to it, right? And as far as I'm concerned, and I'm probably a bit older, a bit thicker in the skin, to me, all I can say is I've had a lot better people than that call me names before.
No, what?
You know, and
P6
I know what you're saying, but
people that want to come and play for us can look at that. People want to give us money, give them a bit and think, no.
I know, but it's freedom of speech in it and all that. I know what Barry thinks.
Mark, we could always sit here wearing masks. Would you answer our question, Dick? Are we wearing masks? You say you're
But to me, I always say to anybody, and that's anybody in life, if they've got something to say to me and they want to call me something, they come and call it to my face, because it's far better that, isn't it? You know, and I think Steve and I, we grew up like that together, and you know, as footballing people, I wouldn't say we fell out about things, but we've had more debates than anybody probably had in football. Not now so much, because he's the manager, but when I was a manager and he was my assistant, we had more debates than anything. But at the end of the day, it was face to face, and that was how it was, isn't it? You know.
I'm talking about people that making this hang on and damaging the club's reputation.
Yeah.
It seems so easy to stop it.
Well, I'm
stop the
anonymity. I think the people who put the worst stuff on there are the ones who are anonymous, and what I can make out from trying to find out, delving into it, most of them don't even come down the club.
No.
And I can't see any reason why you can't be up front and put your name on it. Do away with anonymity, and let's see how many of them got to say that.
If we were wearing masks, you wouldn't be answering the questions.
I mean, those are the sort of people who wouldn't come to something like this and put their case.
Of course.
And they don't even come to the games, majority.
It's deadly. I mean, you expect you do it, mate, and I'm not criticising. Steve and I only both said on the way here, as far as forums goes in football clubs, and we're talking a lot bigger clubs than ours, we've got as good a thing as anybody, you know, and I will say that, and that's credit to you, but, you know, I mean,
My point has always been it started off where you could literally, every single time you went on there, you could put a different name.
Yeah.
So we got rid of that, and we made sure that people at least couldn't post under more than one name, although, of course, people registered under more than one name. That's slightly different. Hopefully, when the website gets revamped, and that might happen sometime this year, the forum will be revamped at the same time, and at that point, we can then start from scratch and say to people, OK, you've got to re-register, and I'm the one that's going to decide who joins. You know, and if I don't know who you are...
Well, let anybody join, as long as they...
Yeah, but I'm saying is, people have to contact me directly in order to join. If they don't contact me, they can't join.
I mean, I've got no problem with criticism from anybody.
No.
Let them be man enough to at least say who they are if they want to criticise.
I mean, if you go on a lot of these sites now, to get in the funds for them, I don't do it, stuff out, but like, even like Sowell now, you can't get in there till you register now, can you?
Even to look at it.
Even to look at it.
Yeah. And I don't agree with that, because to be honest, how can you know there's anything worth commenting on if you can't even get in to look at it without signing up first? So I'd always let people sign up and have read-only access, or at least have read-only access as long as, you know, they could see that they couldn't do anything, and I think that's fair enough.
So, to me, if it's not worth saying, then you put your name to it, don't you? That's all I'm saying about it, you know.
Let's answer that.
Well, can I just
fall into it, all right?
Can I just say something as well, please? Yeah, I agree with you totally. You know what I mean? I was brought up that if you've got something to say, you look somebody in the eye. You don't fanny around with computers anyway. You just come and ask them. You know what I mean? And then you get the truth, and you'll know by looking in somebody's eye whether they're telling you the truth or whether they're telling you twaddle. Obviously, we all live in the real world and with computers, texting, stuff like that. It doesn't bother me one iota, personally. My outburst was, again, it didn't matter to me, but it matters to who I'm sat with and the people that I work for and the people that's in this room that give up their free time, that are volunteers, that put money into the club. So my outburst was not about me and was I upset and stuff like that. It was about sticking up for people that actually do something and get off their arse. And I don't think people that hide behind things should criticise that unless they're down amongst them, and then they can have this debate between themselves. Can we do this better? Or they, you know, to me that's how it should be. And like I say, I don't care whether they're behind masks or not. I'll answer the question the same. You know what I mean? It's not right, but it's the real world. I don't know if you can change it. It's probably Spenny can. But it's about just doing things properly. We all try our hardest. There's always somebody better out there than what we do, and on more money than what we have, and stuff like that. So, you know, everybody's replaceable and stuff like that. And you know, you come under criticism. You know, I accept that as part of my job. But you know, and I do read the forum. You know, you obviously know that. I've obviously responded to things, and I've always do it through Spenny because I'm not going to get into a debate, but I'll answer certain things. And before it was criticised that managers wouldn't come on and wouldn't say a word. So I've tried to do it right, and again, my outburst was simply to stand up for people that I will work alongside, really, more than me. Like, I don't get too shit. Yeah, and I agree that even more, like, you know, because, like I say, how I started, I'd send somebody on a Saturday and just tap me on the shoulder and say, can I ask you something?
I'm not sure, you know, a lot of it was coming from the anonymous people. If you think a lot of it.
See, I agree with something else that you sort of brought into your question, and I tried to hit on it last year when I made a comment on the forum through Spenny, and I did it again. And I just want people to have a freedom of speech, say what they want. Most people at the club at heart, not a problem. There's obviously mischief makers, but before the tap, just have a little think, because you are quite right. There's so many people look at our forum because it's so good, so accessible, that if I went on there and I was doing, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, there's massive problems at this football club. Why is Wisbech? And I'm sat there thinking, hang on a minute, we've got some good people there, we've got some hard workers.
There's no problem.
We finished fourth in the league. We've won the cup. We finished fourth in the league. Like I say, we've got a good reserve team. Everybody's looking in together. For me, it's a rosy place. But if you went on our forum at that time, you would think, bloody hell, what the hell's happening? Do you know what I mean?
If someone just asks you to put a bit of sponsorship in, you can go on there.
Exactly.
No, thank you.
And that's another reason why, you know, obviously I said things, it's starting to get out of hand, and, you know, it's not fair. It's not fair.
I've seen one recently from somebody who I think, I've never seen here at all, saying that there's, on the board of directors, there's a three-way split and infighting going on.
There is.
But the man never comes here. Yeah. Anybody who reads that believes that we're a fractious place.
At least if you get a board that agrees with everything each other says, it must be a boring place.
Yeah, but there is a boring place because it doesn't have many disagreements.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn here at all, I was chairman, but I think if there's half a dozen people out there that think they can do a better job for the club than what we're doing, then bring themselves forward and we'll gratefully step down. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we thought it was better for the club, you know, but it's not easy work.
Time to come on and join.
Exactly. Exactly.
Come the next AGM, I think when we send out the statements, I think we'll send out that with everyone an application form to become a director. We'll see how many responses we get from that.
I thought we just ran murder that subject.
Can I ask Alex about sort of youth policy? I think we've got a lot of really good young players coming through. There must always be that sort of question about is it better for them to be getting games with the reserves or start on the bench? And there's probably 2 or 3 really good players. I wonder what your thoughts are.
Well, I think it's all about timing and obviously opportunities and stuff like that. And I think, you know, I never want to, I don't want to sound like Alex Ferguson and nurture people and stuff like that, because obviously we're talking a different ball game here, but still, there's still boys, some of them might, you know what I mean? And even though they might be good on the ball, they have to learn certain aspects of the game and obviously fill out a little bit. Last year, 2 in particular, Sam Murphy and Ollie Gale, both did exceptionally well, and I'd like to think I did things right, as in last year there was sort of on the fringes, there was on the bench, coming on doing well, and they both got the chance towards the end of the season. I've already spoken to the boys and 1 or 2 other people, and I think pre-season is going to be a big pre-season for them really, because now they need to kick on and become sort of regular first team squad members. But I agree, they can't just come and sit on the bench, you know. So it's a difficult one, and it'll be a bit of horses for courses, and they'll be treated the same as anybody else pre-season, that if they do well and they're doing as good as anybody else, then they'll start. If not, they'll probably on the bench or they may go in reserves, but that's the same for every player. They'll not be treated any differently in that sense, but I think it's great that some local boys are coming through, and it saves the club money a little bit as well, and you know, it's good for supporters to relate to local people, and I'd be well happy if they're both in my starting lineup. You know, obviously I've got to be careful and sensible with them, because there's always some players out there that's got plenty of experience that could hurt them as well, if you like. You know, so you've got to be careful, but they're both potentially got everything that needs to be a first team player. So that's, you know, it just bodes well for the future, if not straight away, sort of thing.
Thank you.
I've got a follow-up question from Johnny Pearce, who couldn't be here tonight on that, specifically about Sam, who apparently earlier was negotiating to be his agent, so you'll understand why the question's been asked. But you're 20%. Sam Murphy. He said.
There's another name.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's been with the first team. He was with the first team. Sat with Samuels, and he was not Sam Cook.
Yeah. Now, as far as Sam Murphy is, I mean, Johnny's obviously a big fan of his, and he basically said, you know, are we looking at putting any of the younger players on contracts to try and protect them from they that shall not be named down the road?
I think, to be honest, it's already been talking about. You know, we have spoken about it. Barry's asked me and things like that. And it's a delicate situation, really, as in, you know, you've got to think, the boys have got to think of themselves. We've obviously got to think of the club as well. We don't want to lose them. But again, if I could just answer that question, do you put 2 or 3 young lads that are not going to sign a contract nowadays without wanting money, and if they don't happen to be in the first team squad, you know, that's money that the club can ill afford. So you caught, for me, between the devil and the deep blue sea. Yes, it's been looked at, and obviously we're monitoring Sam's progress, you know, and I think that if him or Ollie in particular, I keep mentioning them 2, but they are the 2 at the forefront. If they go and get in the side on and have 3 or 4 games that shine and what have you, I think, you know, we've got to look at it even further.
But you don't want to get to the point where you're sort of locking the stable door off the horse's bolted ears.
No, that's right. And I totally agree with that. I totally understand that. But, you know, we can't go around putting willing in people on contracts. It's been done before. It's bankrupt clubs. You know, we could do it about 4 or 5 of our first team players, because we've still got a relatively young squad, and a lot of them, you know, if we had loads of money, I'd sign them on contract. You know what I mean? But you can't, you know, if something happens like Stacey or a Neil Spafford and stuff like that, you know, and they're injured for 6 months, you've still got to pay the wages.
You always...
And if that comes out of my budget, then I've got 11 players and 4 lads out of the reserves that probably aren't good enough, and then the next thing you know, everybody's saying, hang on a minute, we're not good enough. Well, it's like a vicious circle, and one's got to be outmaking the other. And it's not that we don't want to do it, you know, we desperately want to keep these lads, and hopefully they'll be a big part of the future for years to come. But
I mean, obviously I keep an eye on all the teams in the league pretty much, and a lot of the teams that we would consider to be small teams in the league seem to put players on contract almost as a matter of course, and we never seem to do that. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that we're wrong and they're right or anything like that, but I mean, it just seems strange that it almost seems like other teams seem to treat it almost like kudos. It's like, you know, look, we've got players on contract, look how marvellous we are, kind of thing. We talk about, well, yeah, but that's the whole point, can they? I mean, this is, I've said it.
Well, most of them teams, I was just going to say, most of them teams are on about change the manager every other year, and the players come and go all over the shop anyway through one reason or another, and you know, they're up and down. I'd like to think, just last 3 or 4 years, the boys on the board and myself on the field, we obviously I've only been here like nearly 2 years, but through Fixture for a start, they've steadied the club, and we've slowly progressed. And maybe now we're getting to that stage where we might have to start thinking about these things, but there's no way you could even contemplate it before, and that's just being honest and being sensible. You know, I think if Barry or Dick answered the question, you know, could they stop people on contracts, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, then you're being silly, do you know what I mean? It's just costing money, and I know some of the lads, without knocking them, that have been at the club, you know, as soon as they sign that contract, I've got a bit of an ankle, you know what I mean? But I'm still giving them money. You know, you want players that want to play, whether you've got a bad ankle or not. You know, they want to die for every Saturday and want to be part of the club. So,
I think this you know, young clubs who was doing really, really well for youths at the time, and I was the instigator, I'll be honest with you, we put him on contract. But once we put him on contract, his game went backwards instead of forwards, you know.
Keep on piecework, Dick.
Sorry?
Piecework.
It's so difficult because, you know, irrespective of how much they're earning, they know they've got that coming, and honestly, as the app says, the bad ankle comes into play quite a little bit there, you know.
It's very difficult, it must be difficult running a club, especially if you've decided there's going to be no debt, which is not being the only way to run a club.
You could no way could you run a club at this level with half a dozen players on contract on full amount of money, because you just couldn't do it. No way.
the thing that, if we're being honest as well, it's an all different ball game nowadays as well. With no disrespect to anybody in this room, but we're all had a few years behind us. I get texted off players that I can't play. I'm away for the weekend and stuff like this, and you know. This ankle injury, look, it's got a bit of a bruise on it and stuff like that. And I'm not there to manage. I think that's one of the reasons Dick got fed up and backed up. You know, I mean, I played with broken ribs, broken toes, because I didn't want to not play and I didn't want to lose my place. I appreciate not everybody's the same as me, but there's so many people nowadays that are just not made of sterner stuff. And, you know, I don't want to, not the youth of today, but it's an all different ball game, an all different mentality. And you know, it's desperately hard work, let me tell you. And you know, they're just not committed like we used to be. You know, and you know, if you said you was going to do something, you did it. You know, and to me, if you didn't, then I can look somebody in the face, and probably most of us will say that from days gone by. But nowadays, they don't give two hoots. Do you know what I mean? You know, and that's the way of the world.
Excuse me, could it be based on a kind of a winning culture, on bonuses, you know, more emphasis on winning bonuses rather than on the basic salary sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely.
Get paid on results.
Yeah.
Definitely, it could be. But then I'll never sign anybody. Because they'll go elsewhere.
Oh.
Because somebody else would offer them whatever, and that's the way it works. Again, you know, I agree with you.
I mean, we did have a small bonus system a couple of years ago. You know, and it was for the team if they got an away win, they got £40, which went into the end of season kitty. And there was a bonus for no bookings, but Didn't seem to make a lot of difference.
Well, excuse
It
me,
didn't change the way they played or anything.
what about the... See, you've got two important cup games coming up. You've got the Vars and you've got the FA Cup. Well, if you could do something like in the FA Cup, especially, because that's where obviously the money is, isn't it? And if you could have some sort of bonuses for the FA Cup and the Vars, to give them a bit... I know they shouldn't need that encouragement, but
If they
there's
need
money...
incentive to want to play in the FA Cup, then they shouldn't be here as far as I'm concerned.
I know.
I mean, when they get a good run at the FA Cup like they did a few years ago, then we did dish up a fair bit of the money back to the players.
Yeah.
And but that was after about 4 rounds, and I don't really think you should give them the incentive beforehand. They shouldn't need that incentive for a long time. Well, they're not worth having it, aren't they?
Well, they shouldn't need it, but I just think in the real world...
I think as you get further down the line, as Barry says, that's true, but... And Steve probably will not disagree with it, but the way how we pay per game. We don't pay per week, we pay per game. I don't think that's an hiding fact, right? So, consequently, if they win an FA Cup game, they've got a bonus because they've got another game in the round. So they've got another game that season.
Yeah.
So they're going to get another wage back.
I see what you mean, yeah.
So that's a fair bonus, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, and as I say, when we get to the first round proper, I think if Steve comes and asks us, there might be 30 short of wood again, aren't there?
Well, we live in hope.
Yeah. Nah, if we did, you know.
Was it 20 grand this year?
Yes, I have. Got a couple actually. Steve, I've got 2 questions in one, so if I could just to run it through it all. Do you arrange fixtures pre-season? On the internet, on the forum, I was reading it, and they were talking about they weren't happy with the quality of the teams that we were going to be playing in the friendlies. Barcelona. I came to the club one afternoon and I actually spoke to John about this, and I said that what they'd said on the forum was, why can't we invite a top-rate club to come and play here? And I thought, yeah, that's a damn good idea, because they said, you know, if we charged everyone between £8 and £10 to come in, you'd probably get £1,000. 1,000 people come and watch it because of the quality of the opposition, which is a good lot of money for the club. I mentioned this to John, and he said, yeah, he said, but the problem with that, he said that you have to arrange those friendlies around now for next season. Now they apparently always want a retainer, don't they, that you pay them, but I just wondered if you knew anything about that sort of thing.
Can I step in first?
Yeah,
and again, this is today talking to my mate who's, as I say, at Boston United, and who's got a ground that's Football League. On Saturday, no, is it Saturday or week? This Saturday, they are playing Wigan, right? When they arranged the fixture, not too many weeks ago, Wigan wanted £5,000 to come, right? And Boston agreed to a £5,000 fee. Wigan have now gone to China on tour, and it's their youth team, but they still want £5,000. Boston will be lucky to get 500 people through the gate, so we'll lose a lot of money on the game.
Right.
And another story, I can tell you another story, this is Wisbech. I think when L Goods came in to sponsor us, L Goods also sponsor Kettering. Right? L Goods said to us they would like to see us play Kettering here because they sponsor both clubs. L Goods got in touch with Kettering, but Kettering wanted us to pay all their expenses for them to come here. It's just not worth it. Worth it. That's right, I think, John, isn't it? Because you was the negotiator on that one. You could come in there, mate.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, and a couple of things come into play there. One is, I personally get the lads in, and I'm not too keen on travelling all over pre-season for a start, and that's why you have so many local sort of teams, probably at our level, like March. I've arranged one for Swineshead, because basically I want them to get kicked. You know, I want them to play an underdog that raises the game to see what we're made of. I.e., we could play March in the cup, and probably edge somebody else. We're playing Holsey, I don't know what they're like. They're probably obviously from their area, be about footballing side, but they're still a lesser side, and they'll come as the underdog. I want them sort of games that I know we're going to be in a game. I can understand, you know, like the same old faces of your old the Axes, Axtons, but just so people know that we don't just sit on our arses. And I know Barry will back me up here. Before what had gone on with Paul Cousins and Callum Reid with Kingsley down the lane, we put it in place that we was playing them home and away for a cup. That obviously would have got everybody's juices flowing, and there would have been a nice little gate there and a nice little gate here. I set up a game against Corby from the Conference North that was due to be played down here. That got cancelled because they got a league club run them up, asked if they could play them line. So obviously we cocked out on that one. Yeah. And also our friend Mr. Callum Reid again went to cock because we arranged with Jez George that Cambridge United would come down here, but that went to the wayside because obviously Callum Reid didn't join Cambridge in the end. So things was in place and things was provisionally ready to go, but obviously we've been a little bit unlucky. That's football, you have to take it on the chin, but like I say, on the other side of the coin, you know, like Dick said, we kept in and Ross United's down at the cost. Most league clubs now want a fee, and you have to pay for the bus and travel and stuff like that. And you've got to, you know, there's no guarantees how many supporters we're going to get. You know, if it rained like it did the other Saturday, you know, we could end up making a loss. And it's difficult, you know what I mean? It really is. We would love a couple of big clubs down here. I said the other day that Norwich beat Wroxham 7-0 to 6 goals.
Then Wroxham 6-0,
yeah. Yeah, beat Wroxham as well 6-0.
Yeah. But that's a youth team.
Yeah.
That's a youth team that beat them 6-0.
As a player, let me tell you, you're worse playing a youth team because they run around like Joe Billy O, and the first team just struck the storm. But they literally take the piss out of you, and as a player, it's not much fun and you don't get much out of it. So that's why I've always, unless you can get one glory one, which would be nice for the club, don't get me wrong, I'd love for it to happen. Yeah. And we have tried like the higher non-league clubs. I think you're right. I think, you know, sort of, certainly coming up to Christmas, you need to be putting your letters in and stuff like that, which we did last year and we'll do again. Maybe we'll be looking next year. But that's the reason, excuse me, I have sometimes teams like March, and even though we had a couple of injuries and stuff like that, I thought that was well worthwhile, because if we go to March in the cup, at least the boys will know what's going to happen next time. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Forewarned is forearmed, as they say.
Well, do you know what I mean? You need it to you make people grow up quickly, don't you?
What about Jimmo? How's he?
Darren.
Yeah, Darren. Does he?
Darren's ended up with a bad knee.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the season, it's not got no better over the summer. He was told to rest it. He's since been to Phil Ward and he's been to the doctors. They can't really put a finger on it. They've told him exercises or asked him to do a few things to see if it helps him. He seems to be able to do something, but then next day he's in a lot of problems and with his job bending down and that he struggles. So obviously he's got a bit of a problem on his hand. Tonight he's actually training out there and it's his first time he's joined in properly. So we'll probably know more over the next week or so. But Darren is still with us and he will be until he tells me different. But unfortunately at the minute he's struggling a little bit. So.
Well, we're going to miss his size really, because I think sometimes, my way of thinking with modern football, you do need someone fairly muscular up front, you know. Because obviously we're not going to get anyone with a bit of class anyway, I suppose. We just can't afford it, but I thought he might fill in, you know, if he's got another season in him.
Well, he might have, and I think he might have preferred it if you said he'd got a bit of presence about him.
Well, he's got a bit of skill, and he's not that easy to knock off the ball, is he? And Darren's
always been a quality footballer.
Yeah, but if you've got a chap like him, or similar, they could draw players away from the other lightweights if you've got more room to move. Yeah.
I think he's going to see a specialist in August or something like that, Tom.
He's hoping for a scan, isn't he?
Yeah,
but, you know what the doctors are like nowadays, they cost
Nick
them money.
Davies is bigger than he looks, isn't he?
Sorry?
Nick Davies is bigger than he looks.
He's a solid chap.
Yeah. See how he comes out.
Because I mean, when you play the likes of Kingsley, if you ever get drawn against them in a sort of important cup, they've obviously got a bit of muscle there, haven't they? You
A bit
know.
of fat with definitely, you mean? Yeah.
Well, big chaps, you need, you know what I mean? It's common sense to have one or two chaps on your own side if you're handling them, isn't it?
It's not always about that. Sometimes here.
I know, but when you see them 50-50 balls,
Yeah, no.
intimidation and that.
You've got to compete. You've got to compete, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to say, good centre-backs in Spafford and Ashton. They've got the business.
Neil Spafford's a lad I've known for a while. I've played with him, and he'll be gutted that he's missing Saturday. And it's a friendly like, you know, he's that type of character. As soon as he called to the club, he was at the front in the running, the training and everything. He's a proper man's man, you know. Straight away, I knew he'd fit in, and you know, I wanted pre-season's about experimenting. I wanted to try him in midfield as well because he's a lad that can play everywhere. But you know, I like him at the back because he talks and he covers around and he does well. Simon Ashton's a young lad that didn't really get a break at Boston. Well capable, big height and presence that we've needed. Not seen the best of him yet. He still needs to come out of his shell, but I think he'll do well for us. But yeah, I'd like to think they're both going to be quality signings for us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are you about where you thought you would be as far as your team plans? At the start of pre-season?
Squad-wise, I'm fairly happy. But player-wise, you know, it's just about making it work now. Obviously, it's highlighted over what happened over the summer where we lost 2 or 3 that we didn't expect to. But I'd like to think the players that have come in are either a proven quality or a higher league that's got more potential. That doesn't mean anything. Obviously, they've got to come and do it, and they've got to do it what the lads are already here, because we've still got a good, strong backbone from last year, which we did well with. So, you know, if I'm being honest, I'm not happy so far, because Tuesday night I thought we was pants. In spells we did all right, but, you know, I said to them afterwards that they wanted it more, and basically just sat behind the ball and broke, and effectively, if you like. And the whole idea of the friendly, which I've just said before, is about coming up against teams like this, and obviously matching them and getting in their faces and not being intimidated. I don't think we was intimidated, we just didn't match them on the day. But it was disappointing for me because we didn't put the game to bed when we was on top. There was a blatant offside for their first goal that gave them a massive boost, and we struggled after that, if I'm being honest, until we went 3-1 down. Then I think you see a bit more of us. But what I'd like to do is get the lads settled and gelled, and it's always a hard time, and I don't want to make excuses for a manager because people's on holiday. Saturday we've got about half the side missing, you know, and things happen pre-season, so it is hard to get people playing with each other, but obviously it's an important time. They need to realise that, and the sooner we can get things into gear, then the better. But there's still plenty of work to be done, but potential's there, so you know, I'm happy with the players that we've got, definitely.
Have we still got Revo?
Revo's the same as always with Revo. He's a cricketer. I've known from day one, so I've got no confidence about it. He plays at a decent level. He can't play Saturdays until August, which was the same for the last 2 or 3 years. He was ill Tuesday night, that's why he wasn't there. He's been training. I can't ask for no more than that. You know, he's not doing anything other than he's told me. You know that he's always said, really, to be fair. You know, if somebody's up front with me, you either accept it or you say no, it can't work or whatever. But Revo's always put his cricket first during the summer. But to be fair to him, as soon as the real stuff starts, he's with us. So
I've got a question, Steve. We don't seem to have, even the lads you brought in, there seem to be quite lads, we haven't got a natural leader out there. Have you actually nominated Scott Johnson as captain now? Or?
Yeah.
I mean, because I saw a bit on the forums saying he's a quiet lad, and he's a quiet lad.
I think from standing right on the sidelines real close, you hear, there's two things about Scott Johnson, and one is even though he's a little lad, he's got presence, and he commands respect of his players, and when he speaks, to listen. So that's the main thing for me. He's always talking. Now, it might not be a scream or a shout that you can hear from, like, while the game's going on, but he's always talking, and for me, he's like a little organiser as well. Obviously, I mean, Paul Cousins was captain here for years, but Paul Cousins wasn't a good talker in my eyes. He could shout and scream every now and again, but it wasn't constructive. Now, that's not knocking Paul, because it works in other ways by motivating, I suppose. And obviously, Cousins, like Scott Johnson, when the ball's there to be won, they'll win and they'll put their heart and soul into it. And that's why I chose Scott. He was here last year, and I thought a bit of continuity and stuff like that. The other one that's obvious for me is since he's come is Neil Spafford, because he's a talker and he's an organiser. But I think that's the problem.
You don't think he'll take a step back because captain did?
No.
So shush off with that.
No, definitely not. He'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
He'll do it anyway. And I've made him like vice captain anyway.
We missed that last few seasons. That's all probably really.
Yeah.
Well, it's maybe a question you can all ask Dick, because, you know, even in my day when I was a player, you used to say to me that probably I was the only talker with Dick. And nowadays, you get probably 1, 2, if you're lucky, in your side. The rest are whinging bastards, excuse me French, but they are. And all you get is referee this or referee that, and that's all you hear. Now, sometimes good sides do that, just constantly, and then the ref gets a decision, it gives them a decision. But going back to my day, you probably had 5 or 6 captains that it didn't matter who wore the armband, because they'd all be like, do you know what I mean, and having a right pop.
Yeah.
But then in the bar afterwards, they're all stood together having a beer. You kick your granny to win a football game. Well, I would. But that's the way, you know what I mean. But nowadays it's like, oh, sorry. And there's not that many people that shout and bawl, and so it's often the way they do things now.
It's good that we got one.
Yeah, and like I say, if you make it a purpose now to listen to Scott Johnson when he plays, you will notice him, whereas before you used to think, well, maybe he's not, but he does constantly talk, constantly.
Is it because he's not in the middle, if you like, he's on one side, therefore it's...
It could be funny, as simple as that. Yeah, it could be something like that. I mean, I suppose I'm going against the grain, because normally you have somebody straight down the middle that, you know, because as a manager, that's what your spine is. You know, you get a good centre half, good centre midfield, you're a goal scorer, and then you build your side around it. And you're right, most skippers would be that, you know what I mean? But, see Ryan Giggs captain Man United, but I can't imagine him balling somebody out, can you?
No, I don't think captains up with the ball people now. He's encouraged them to bring them on.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, as a leader would do that. And most teams you don't see a natural leader in any teams these days.
That's what they're.
It seems to have gone from the game.
I think years and years ago, it was always the centre half who was captain, wasn't it? In my days, it was always a centre half who would have played centre half, nearly always captain, right? But I think you're right, Steve's right in what he says, is getting through and between them. And it's hard. I mean, I was fortunate when I was managing at Spalding and at Aldbeach, where I could have probably have named 6 captains, because I had that type of player. My average age was about 31, I think, and the only problem we had to get there at 1 o'clock on a Saturday to get everybody wrapped up ready to play, because they'd all got bad ankles and knees and everything. And Steve was captain at that time, and people respected him, but he had a lot of people around him who we respected, and it was easy. Nowadays, it's bloody hard, because, you know, I think all of us in this room, if we could turn the clock back 10 years and put him in the middle of the midfield and let him be captain, we'd be all right. But
I think the other thing that I will just add is that Scott Johnson wants to be captain, and it means something, and that's probably the most important thing to me. Because even when I was captain for Wisbech and that, it's got to mean something. It's got to mean, you know, a bit of honour, a bit of pride, you know. And for me, personally, as a skipper, it gave me an extra boost. It gave me another 15-20%. It shouldn't do, but somehow maybe that made me feel as though I played better because of it. And when I look at Scott Johnson, I know he'll take a defeat personally, and he'll wind the lads up. And when you're in the changing rooms, he'll be on the lads. So there's a lot of things come into play. You know what I mean? But that's.
Does that make him a club captain as well?
I've
Do you have a
not really gone down that line, to be honest. He's just captain, and yeah, he's captain of the club, the team, and Neil Spafford will be like if he's not available.
Do you think that he's got the interest within the clubs coming down into the reserves and the under-18s?
He'll always ask, don't get me wrong, if we come back here, how the reserves have got on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's a sad thing to say, but I think them days have gone, you know, where, you know, what's happening here and what's happening everywhere. You know, before it used to be 15 lads come back in, you'd all have a beer. Oh, how'd you get on? And have a bit of banter with everybody. Nowadays it's like food cherry pops and a panda pops and 3 lads on the beer, and who's the other 3? They've gone on already. And again,
it's just that I'm quite a new member to your club.
Yeah.
And these are some of the things that I've noticed from being in other clubs, and I just, you know, just felt that there was something missing from the camaraderie of all teams. You know, I come down here on a Saturday and I never see anything relating to where the reserves are playing today. I never see anything in the papers. It's never mentioned in the programme.
You've got quite a good following of the reserve, don't you?
Well, I came to watch a reserve game right at the very end of the season, and I was amazed how many people were here, and I was amazed how good the game was, in even relation to the game. I think it was the very last game, the game after the cup final against Roxham, and I came down on the Tuesday evening. It was a really terrific game. We won 3-2.
No, I hear what you're saying, and it's a fair comment. I think there's a lot of things come into play really, and it's not making excuses because I'm not that type of person. But obviously last year, with us coming into here, there's so many things that had to be done, and a lot of things got forgotten about, and obviously people didn't have time, and it dawned on me as well when we come in the club. In fact, it was myself that asked today if we could, because a lot of the players that used to go in that side of the bar when they'd finished.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's sort of splitting things, and you know, this place was only half full, and players in there having a drink, and some would be in here, and I'm thinking, it's not right. Do you know what I mean? You know, at our level, you should come in. And so we sort of said, can we sort of shut that off and make this a busy place, and all the players in here, a bit more banter, like you quite rightly say, let the supporters talk to the players.
You probably don't know the history. I mean, when we were at Fenland Park, the reserves that were a very integral part of the club. We went to Outlook and the reserves played somewhere else. So they were a different entity, and I shouldn't think any of the first team players knew any of the reserves. A lot the other way around, because they played out Barton Road, and there was no real clubhouse they could get to meet. And I think now, you're going to have a couple of years to rebuild that again, and I think it will come again.
Work in progress.
A bit like the ground, to be fair. There's still things to be done that people obviously will always try and improve, do you know what I mean? But it's not going to happen overnight. So.
Do you get to go and watch the reserves and the under-18s?
Not many times, because we're always doing something here for the first team. But no, I have. Obviously, I try. Saturdays is impossible, obviously, but I do come and watch the
I was wondering if they had different kick-off times that you could probably...
What, on a Saturday?
Under-18s might play in the
Oh, well, they play Monday nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They have them on Thursdays and things like that. You know, and I'll be honest, it's difficult for the level they are, where I live, and my expectations as well, you know. So obviously I'm relying on Chris Deere, who's my assistant, that will come and watch as well. Because we are only part-time, you know, without sounding awful, I have still got another life. And you know, as much as I want to be here all the time and watch games, it is difficult, do you know what I mean? But you will see me at a few reserve games, and obviously Darren Leedy I'm very close to. He updates me every weekend. We speak as soon as the game's finished and things like that. Mel and Jigger do a fantastic job with reserve. Chaz, physio, who helps us tremendously with the first team, he's always involved with the rating, so it's not as though we don't know what's going on.
No.
And it's having people that you trust, do you know what I mean? And obviously if I was a Wisbech person, I'd be down here every other night and it wouldn't be such a problem, but I have to rely on people as well. So, you know, like I say, we do our best.
I've got a couple of questions all the way from Spain. I'll start with the ones relevant to what you just were saying here, which is there any particular reason why 9 of last season's reserve squad have opted to go to other local clubs? And bearing this in mind, will we have a competitive team for the reserves this season? Obviously, nobody here from the reserves, but that's Big Dave asking the question. So,
Has 9 definitely left?
he said, I have the list of names and the clubs they have gone to, so he's obviously been keeping an eye on what's happening.
Well, I mean, obviously I can't speak for Darren. I work closely with Darren, but Darren's on holiday. He comes back tonight, so he can't answer the question himself. I'm sure he's got things in order. There's certain things, our people, certain ways of doing things, but although they were successful last year, a lot of things wasn't done in the right way. Darren does things my way and how I think things should be done. And I'm sure he'll have things in order. I'm sure we'll be competitive. You know, we're trying to win it because I know the type of bloke he is. I think the big thing is that we're all a lot closer now as a group. You know, and I don't see it being a problem, Spenny, to be honest.
No.
If the players have gone, then you've got to question their ambition as well, really. If you go into a village side rather than playing the reserves,
Does that mean then that the reserves then will be drawn from away, not local?
hopefully not, Barry. You know, but Darren's, I've had enough on the play with the first team, to be honest, but
that worries me too, that we lost so many local players during last year as well from the reserves.
it's a question I can't really answer, so I think 100%, you know, Darren's told me that the young lads from the reserves will stick with it, so until they know any different, then I don't know if there's a problem.
That's good. This one's probably for Barry, I would have thought. Applications for promotion have to be in by the 31st of December this year. Are we definitely applying?
We can't definitely apply till we see where we are. We're in the bottom 3 of the league, there's no point. You've got to be at least competitive in November to make it worthwhile applying. It costs you to apply.
Is it a deposit you pay, or is it literally you pay the money and then even if you withdraw you don't get your money back?
I think it's more that it comes down to the round grade and then you have your inspection, so you have to make sure that everything is up to the scratch with ground grading before you can even be considered.
I think we're in F.
I think we've got no problem with ground grading moving up. But I mean, if we're in a position that we think we're going to be competing for the top of the league, as I think what I expect us to be, then we will apply. Well, to my mind, I think it's a board decision, but and the management decision. But to my mind, we will apply to go up if we're in the position.
That's cool. Okay. Now the other one,
Yes.
but we don't have to do that until the end of March after we've been promoted, if that's the case, because that's the D grading.
You have another question, Spenny?
Oh yeah, no, it's like an E grading basically means you have to have an E in order to go up, but you have to have a D grading in time for the end of March in the season, which you are in playing in that higher league. Yeah. A bit less than about 10 minutes on that, but yeah. The only question is about the car boot sales, which I think we covered in our sports club meeting recently anyway, didn't we? Yeah. When we said that basically until this place is finished and had a piece of paper passed from Norfolk County Council, we can't, or whichever council it is.
Yeah, we had the chief planner officer come down 2 weeks ago when we were marking out that pitch, He wanted to put the bunding and the fencing. And he said he's quite happy with what he can see there. And it started on the bungalow, so basically most of the conditions seem to have been met. And I think they want to get the rates over us, because until they pass the conditions, they can't get the rates over us.
They aren't backdated, are they?
Who knows? I know the council. But, so he seemed quite happy the G plan wasn't going to go down. So in which case, once we get those conditions cleared and passed, we can then apply to change the use of the car park.
But not until.
No. Cool. That's my lot. Or Dave's lot.
So it looks right for me. How's the pitch?
To be fair, the pitch, I won't mind you, we had a concern, and we still have, because we still think we've got a little bit of a problem, which we don't really know what it is. We've sent soil away to be analysed, we've had people looking at drains, we've had numerous people down here giving us advice, but the last fortnight it's really come on, you know. Again, the weather didn't help us. We cut it yesterday with a lawnmower, a big lawnmower, I must say, to collect the grass up, so it's not laid grass laid on top. I think you will see that it's a lot better now. Our idea now is to absolutely leave it now until we nearly play on it, which will be a week next Tuesday. So I don't think we'll go on it now at all until probably a week Monday to mark it out, and hopefully by then it will be not in bad shape.
Excuse me, I suppose until you get the rainy season in the winter time, you won't know whether the drains are working or not, will you?
Well, we did have a lot of rain that last Saturday we were here, didn't we? And it seemed to go all right.
Yeah, but when you get constant rain in the winter time, you know, I mean, we don't want it to be like it was in the past, get postponed again.
Sun's ready because you went around and having in the winter. So
I mean, you know, if you look at the fixtures last year, they called off. When we were called off, very nearly everybody else was called off. There was only about 1 or 2 games where ours was the only game that was off. Other people got called off exactly the same as we did.
We've had enough rain to be building an arc over the last sort of few weeks. It's rained pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, the drains themselves, they obviously go into the dike, don't they?
Yeah.
Right. So can you see where the outlets are?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And water comes out. Now the problem is, right, we sent two lots of soil away to be tested. One from where we've got bad areas, what we call the bad areas, where if you look straight down, you'll see red areas. Okay. We sent a soil away from there, and we sent a soil away from where it's good. The reports came back that it was caused by wet, right? And that's why the grass wasn't growing in them areas, because underneath it's too wet, right? So obviously that points to a question that it's not draining away perfectly, a lot further down, okay?
But we do know that, because when we got the grass mechanic in last year, and he virgin drained in, and then he cut the grass through, because he said it compressed too much, so the water wasn't getting through the top surface to get to the ground. So now we cut it up and sliced it up and virgin drained it. The water is now getting down as far as those drain pipes that are underneath. So with a bit of luck, it'll happen. We'll get it virgin drained again, probably in about November, before we get the real wet weather. And with a bit of luck, that should keep running. But again, it's experimental, because we have had problems with it.
Well, you shouldn't get too much problem because they're all plastic drains anyway.
They are. Yeah, but if the ground is compressed on top of it.
Oh yeah.
So it's right there, I think the rainwater goes down the grass, but the grass hasn't gone far enough down.
Yeah.
See you Saturday.
I just hope when they put the drains in themselves that some areas weren't soft underneath, so you get up and down with the drains, you know, as time goes on. You get little dips.
It was laser,
and then
it was laser levels it was. It was absolutely flat. It was laser level.
That's right, when they put it in. But the point is, if you get substance underneath the drains in places, you can get a dip in the pipes, and then you get the sediment building and then dip, and then they're no good.
But
mean, the way was, they say the only way you're going to totally do it is dig it all up again, which is out of the question.
Can't you put cameras in?
You can put a camera down, yeah.
Yeah.
It does cost a little bit.
Yeah, back to money again.
We've got about 9 drains there, I think it's £50 every time around, so we're looking at £350–400 just to find out.
I'll stick us down there.
But if it comes at the end of the, if we get a real problem, then we'll know it.
Yeah. No, I just wondered, that's all I could. I mean, they seem foolproof to me, normally. If they're laid on a level base.
We won't know, we'll have to just wait and see. Wait and see.
Any more from anybody?
Well, I had a question about team tactics. Should I mention it?
No.
Have a quick word with Steve.
Yeah.
Yes, see Martha.
Arnie, you're all dirty again. I mean, what did you do last time?
What do you want asked?
Well, it was sort of raised to me, actually, and when I looked at it and I watched it and I noticed it, that when we're playing, it seems like you've adopted and don't lie, or you will, I know, you've adopted a Barcelona approach where you're hunting backs, and everyone goes over that side of the pitch, everyone comes over this side of the pitch, you don't ever leave anyone over here or over there. Now, I noticed it in the cup final against Roxham. Roxham played a similar situation where they always left someone out on the wing to get the quick throw in up and quick change. And I also noticed on Saturday that Solar employed that same formula, that they stretch the play. I've watched us and we seem to play it down a short, narrow channel. I mean, is that a deliberate thing?
I don't want no lazy gits in my side.
You don't?
Want no lazy gits in my side. I'm just going to wait and stand for the ball.
We've got enough already.
In all seriousness, I know what you're saying. But the Roxham game in particular, we left out probably 2 of our best players of the season, Simon Plant and Matt Long. You know, and any other game or any other opposition, I'd have probably played them. But basically, I felt as though we could play 4 centre halves at the back. Played Scott Johnson in midfield, to tighten the midfield up, and we just played with Callum Reid out wide instead of having Callum and Matt Hunt. And it was just a case of I knew we'd have to work hard, I knew we'd had to close them down. They've got quite a few luxury players that is what you're on about. If you give them the ball, they'll hurt you, but not if you put them under pressure. And I just felt if we stop the threat of the high ball for a start and then the seconds, then we'd have a chance of winning the game. I thought if we played them at their own game and we stretched, I didn't feel as though, I'm not saying we couldn't have won the game, but it would have been a very open game, and it would have been one that one day we'd have won, one day we wouldn't. So it was a case of just...
So it was a case of just looking at the opposition?
It was on that occasion in particular. On Saturday, I think it was probably about lack of fitness, where people are made a run and just got back in or whatever. No, not really, no. I mean, we do, if I'm being honest, Matt Lunn is probably our most exciting player, and we try and free him up. He's looking over now, so... No, but we do try and free him up, so I understand. But I'm a big believer that, obviously, there's 10 others working their tits off to give him a chance to express himself. Yeah. So in return, when they're working the ball off, I expect him to at least come in a bit. So it's, you know, I don't give the fact of like just stay out there working with the ball. No, what I would sooner do is as soon as we've got the ball back, now you get out wide and we get space so we can do it. But you know, first and foremost, we've got to work for each other. And earn the right to play, really. And then I've got confidence in the players that I've got, and I've got a good touch and can play and will create. And when somebody like Matt out there, it's one-on-one, you can beat him most times. So.
Okay.
All right.
Any more, gentlemen?